assume we can drink these. You just give me the green light whenever you're ready. Okay. All righty. Opening thoughts, first and foremost, I want to thank, everybody for being here today. Obviously I know this is part of y'all's job, but I appreciate y'all taking time out of your day to cover us. That was a disappointing end to a really hard-fought game. And to kind of let you guys know what I told our football team, I think we did a lot of good things. Obviously, it was nowhere near close enough or good enough to get a win, but we had a chance at the very, very end to come away with a win. So I'm really, really proud of our guys' effort. I think there's a lot of positive things that we can improve on and build on. And really, football comes down to about 5 or 6 plays a game that really, in essence, directly impact the outcome. And we had, obviously I'm sure there's a couple that might come to y'all's mind. We had about 5 to 6 plays that kind of swayed this game for us in a negative outcome with a loss. But with that being said, our team never let go of the rope, so to speak. They fought till the very end. That was an unbelievable conversion that we had at the very, very end as far as a 3rd and 31. And then obviously the end result of that play was disappointing. But I'm really proud of this team. If we can eliminate and clean up those 5 to 6, plays, so to speak, in a game, I know we can come away with a win. And this team, we're nowhere near giving up. We're going to keep coming back to work, fighting every day, because at the end of the day, that's what football is. Football is a game of life. And, what I told our team is football directly mirrors life in the fact of, especially, as a man, because we have a bunch of, players, when things don't go your way, how you respond to those outcomes is all that matters. And so with that, we need to look inward, improve the mistakes. But I'm proud of the team and a lot of different things that we did. And obviously, we have to be better. Questions?
Coach, this was your most productive offensive game as a team that we've seen this season. Was there something different today that allowed the group to get going a little bit?
I think scheme-wise, there wasn't a whole lot different per se. I think where we had some success is, kind of what we were able to do against Michigan and D.C., a couple weeks ago, is lean into our players' strengths. I thought we had a great game plan going into this game offensively. And then obviously at the end of the day, it comes down to players executing. I thought Kevin Hogan had a really good game. There were a bunch of guys that stepped up and made plays when we needed them to. And, unfortunately, we just had one too many mistakes, if you will. But, it all comes down to, execution, which was our big theme for the week. It wasn't, new scheme per se. It was just honing in on the details and focusing on doing my 1/11th, so to speak, as a player.
Kevin, for you, what are the emotions like, coming away from such a productive game but not being able to come away with a win?
Definitely, frustrated, but, it's a hard game, and they played well over there. They made plays, and I'm really proud of the way we fought, and that was a good team that we were up against, and I thought that we executed the game plan really well. Again, we have to eliminate some of the penalties and turnovers, one of which that I could have done a better job of trying to prevent. But I was really proud of the way that we came together after a tough one the last few weeks, and was able to put some drives together. And then again, you never want that to be the end of the first half. But we came in and we regrouped, and we were able to put together a productive drive, getting the ball to start the third quarter, and converted some big third downs, and had a chance at the end to keep a drive going to try and tie it up or even win it. So proud of the guys for fighting.
Yeah, Coach talked about that moment at the end. What are the emotions like for you on the field when you hit that big play to potentially keep the team alive, and then it kind of ends in the fumble that sort of seals the game?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those crazy plays. 3rd and 31, that's tough to convert. It was a great job, offensive line giving me a little bit of time, and then Speedy ran a great route, tried to get the ball for him to him, and did a good job carrying the defender past the chains. And he was, fighting like we all were all day, and just an unfortunate situation that the ball came out. But he was fighting his butt off to give us an opportunity to continue the drive. So it's a tough one to end on, but if he doesn't get past the chains, it's probably a different conversation. He gave us a chance.
Coach, defense had a lot of strong moments early, but DC scored 3 straight drives at the end when they needed to. Did something change that they were able to get going, or that was missing from defense to shut them down throughout the game?
No, I think, especially when you look at our stat sheet, similar to what Kevin just mentioned offensively, I think our defense did a lot of great things. Something that probably goes unnoticed is 3 weeks in a row we've held our opponents to under 100 rushing yards as a defense, and that's something that's, a very big accomplishment. Really ultimately in the second half, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Jordan Ta'amu had a single incomplete pass. And so, one thing that we have to correct and clean up offensively, Kevin mentioned the penalties and the turnovers. Defensively, we have to reduce the opponent's offense's output via passing yards.
Jay-Sean Corbin scored to make the score 25-24, and you elected to go for 2 rather than potentially the 1-pointer to tie. Kind of what do you factor into that decision, or what are you weighing then?
I think momentum is something that's really difficult to kind of measure and weigh. And with the nature of that play, to be 100% honest with you, I think with where we are in our season, I'm an aggressive-minded coach. Now, with that being said, you have to it's controlled aggression, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? You want to be calculated in the risks you take. But, I felt like where we were as a team, where we were offensively rolling, I wanted to give our team a chance to take the lead. Felt good about the situation we were in and the play call. And with that, obviously it didn't result in the outcome that we wanted, but, I'm really, really proud of Jay-Sean, and, that play exemplifies what we're capable of when everybody on the field is doing their job to the maximum capability as far as effort. There was a lot of things, I know this is not directly your question, but there were a lot of things that subtly went on. The big focus, obviously, is Jay-Sean for the run. The offensive line was electric on that play. We got our double team set. We had all gaps covered, offensive line-wise, and then on the perimeter, Marquez Stevenson, I believe it was D, they did a great job perimeter blocking. So, I'm going to use that as something to highlight, something that we can build off of when we all focus on our technique and our responsibilities as individuals.
Questions online?
Yeah, hey, Coach. I wanted to ask about Steven Stillianos, tight end. We've seen him really kind of see an increased role. Had a touchdown today for 46 yards. And he's a guy that came in after week 1, kind of had to pick things up quickly. What can you say about him and just the effort he's put out there on the field?
I'm going to say this. This is a league of opportunity. I think every NFL franchise needs to take a serious look at Steve Stillianos at the end of the season. He has been a phenomenal addition by our general manager, Mark Lillibridge. And to be very specific as to what I mean, his personality, he is such a positive individual that loves to work. He loves this game. He was excited for the opportunity when he came in. No matter what's going on around him, no matter what the result was of a specific play or a game, he comes into work each and every day with a chip on his shoulder, hungry to work. He might be, like I said, Mark Lillibridge deserves a lot of props because that was a phenomenal addition, like you mentioned, in season. I love Stilly. That's his nickname. I love him to death. He's a great person and a really, really good football player.
And then I want to follow up and ask about, obviously, the end of the first half, not exactly how you imagine it going. You had a couple timeouts and some time ran off the clock. Can you kind of take me through what all went down there, down the stretch of that final drive?
Obviously, as you mentioned, we had, in my opinion, I think it was 10 or 12 seconds ran off the clock, before we were able to get that play off, and kind of where my mind was situationally is wanting to save the tight ends and the timeouts until after that play that resulted in the fumble to try to give us a chance to push the ball down the field a little bit, get us into a good play call, and then either try to set up ourselves for a field goal or to possibly, depending on the gains, to possibly take a shot at the end zone. So that was kind of the thought process there. Obviously, that was a point of emphasis at halftime. Is that was unacceptable, and it starts with me. We have to do a better job of emphasizing when we're in a 2-minute situation. We have to be more efficient getting in and out of the huddles and take the ball with a sense of urgency. So that will be something that we will get corrected this week in practice.
Anything else there?
Yep.
This one could be for both of you guys. When you think about the opportunity to play here at home in San Antonio, we talked about it before about, on a Friday night, you have, thousands of fans out here who have been screaming, and for you, Hogan, you were seeing them on the way off the field and stuff, and diehard fans and stuff. What does it mean to you to see that, even through a battle like this, they're still so dedicated to this organization and this group?
Yeah, I mean, it hurt. We hurt for the fans. We want to provide them with victories. We're very thankful for their support. They've been unbelievable. They even travel well. Like they travel. I don't know how they do it, but they come on the road and support us, and we want nothing more than to be able to, defend the Alamo. And we're going to do our best. We got 2 more games here. We're going to do our best and keep fighting and keep growing and learning from our mistakes and doing whatever we can to provide those fans with some wins at home, because they deserve it. They've been supporting us all year, and we keep coming up short. But we haven't lost any thoughts towards them, and we're going to keep fighting to get them a win here at home.
Yeah, and I'll just follow that up. I think it's about as well said as you could possibly say by Kevin. We love this city. This city is a special town with a rich culture and a rich tradition when it comes to football. This is a blessing for me, to have this opportunity for these players to have the opportunity they have to play in this league and in this city. And I can't thank the fans enough. Their support has been unbelievable. I know I'm biased. I've said it and I'll say it again. I really do think we have the best fan base. And I love the city of San Antonio. And like Kevin said, we'll be better, and I'm looking forward to bringing a win home back to the city here next week. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll go straight to questions for Jordan Mosley.
Jordan, what are the emotions like coming away from a game like today where you guys played pretty well in a lot of areas but weren't able to come through with the win?
Just disappointing, obviously, because we worked really hard all camp, all off season, and just to not finish the job was definitely disappointing. But we still got 3 games left and put some good film out there.
They scored on 3 straight possessions down the stretch when they needed to have them. Was there something defensively that was missing, or something they did that got going?
We just didn't execute as a back end. It starts with me. I take the blame for that. But we weren't in the second half. We just weren't sound, and we weren't getting off the field, especially as a back end. They was kind of going up and down the field on us, and we just got to be better.
I don't know if you were on the field for this play or not, but they had the 4th and 2 down near the goal line late in the game, and they dialed up kind of a trick play. Can you take me through what you saw on that one?
That was just obviously a good play, pop pass. With the eligible lineman, so I think that's a great play call. But we just gotta, again, just be more sound, and but hats off to them, because that was a great play call for the moment.
Any questions online?
Jason, you have a question?
Jason, you have a question?
Going back to that trick play at the end there was a kind of a call on the side, a lot of coaches wondering whether or not he actually did declare. Did you see him declare at all? Did you have any eyes on that at all?
I was on the opposite side, so you know what I'm saying. I don't know what happened, but yeah, I don't know. I can't lie to you.
And then when it comes to having a defensive role on this team that was putting up some great performances throughout the first half, as well as going through trying to battle through the second half, what would you say for as like just knowing that this is the second loss at home, and what you want to do as far as a defense when it comes to having more home games here for this crowd and this community?
I mean, we'll be better. We'll put a better product out there. I think defensively, like I said, that was on our side. I think their offense gave us plenty of chances to win, and as a defensive player, you want to end the game on defense, and that's what we did, and we didn't execute. But we'll be better for the fans. I definitely appreciate all of them, especially the little kids out there after the game just supporting, even though we lost. But it's just much appreciated, and I think that next week we'll definitely give them a better product when we get in here next week.
Jordan, sitting 1-6 at this point in the season, how do you guys kind of find the motivation to finish out the right way down the stretch?
The motivation, I mean, you in the wrong sport if you need some external motivation. The motivation is like we get to play a game. We get to still play a game and get paid for it, and hopefully put enough good film out there to maybe get a call or something. But at the end of the day, the motivation is you want to win, and you want to do it in front of your home crowd. That's the motivation.
Any questions online?
I appreciate it.